Echoes of Aincrad is just around the corner, and I am so incredibly excited to play this game. I've been looking forward to a good SAO game for years now, and while but Arctree, I saw the title on your last video, and you said you hated Echoes of Aincrad. Doesn't that make you a hypocrite? Well, now that that guy's out of the way, here are 5 reasons I'm looking forward to Echoes of Aincrad, and why I think you should be too. Let's address the elephant in the room. Sword Art Online Echoes of Aincrad only has 2 floors, and to a lot of players that is deeply disappointing. Hell, even I was disappointed when I first heard that. But after digging a little deeper, and after talking to a lot of you in the comments, let me tell you why 2 floors might actually be the first thing you should be looking forward to. From the developer perspective, 2 floors in a new game engine lets them curate and create the exact game that they want. Instead of spreading resources thin on more and more shallow or uninteresting floors just for the sake of having them, they can focus on building a world that feels dense, intentional, lived in, and worth exploring. They've already outright said that they want players to explore each zone thoroughly, and that each area should take at least 30 to 40 minutes to fully explore. So instead of blowing through floors you barely remember, this time we should have maps you actually want to get lost in, which honestly is what I think most Sword Art fans want. Narratively, this also makes the most sense. The game is focused on the early days of Sword Art Online when people were still trying to understand and cope with their new reality. Most players spent that time on the first floor, and a lot of them never even left the town of beginnings. That's the main hub area, by the way. And let's not forget, Floor 1 is the largest floor in Aincrad, followed by Floor 2. So while on paper, 2 floors doesn't sound like much, in fact, it sounds borderline like low effort, the potential of these floors is promising. You can more than deliver on a great experience in Aincrad with just those 2 floors alone. Speaking of the early SAO days, let's talk about something that might be good news for some people and bad news for others. There's no narrative focus on romance in Echoes of Aincrad. During a Q&A, lead developer Tosuke Futami said it wouldn't really make sense to include romance or bed scene options, since this game takes place at the beginning of Sword Art Online, where the main focus is survival. So what does that mean? Basically, there's no romance storylines, or at least not in the way that we're used to in the past SAO games. If you haven't played the previous entries, most Sword Art Online games are basically half action RPG and half romance visual novel. You would go on quests, give gifts, and raise affinity, and yeah, there were even bedroom scenes.
Are you winning, son?
A lot of players enjoyed that aspect of the game, and a lot of players, myself included, really didn't care for it. For better or worse, a lot of development resources went into those systems, and you were often forced to interact with them. In Alicization Lycoris, you could get EXP buffs from bedroom scenes. And in Fatal Bullet, the true ending was locked behind raising your affinity with certain characters. So while losing that system might be disappointing to some, in my opinion, it's not a great loss, and it's probably for the best overall. That said, I get why some people are disappointed. Even as an action RPG fan, you kinda expect some romance to be in the story, even if it's not an entire visual novel's worth. On the action RPG side, this game looks like a pretty big step up from previous entries. From recent gameplay previews, we've seen normal attacks, charge attacks, alternate combo endings, dash attacks, and a lot of flashy sword skills. I love the combat experience in the SAO games, it's one of the main appeals for me, and this one looks genuinely promising. One of the other things about Sword Art Online games is that they've always been good about unlocking new moves and skills through repeated weapon use. It's an iconic staple in these games, and I'm really curious to see how that system works here. And for my fellow grinders, the developers have also said they haven't forgotten about the in-game players, claiming there will be plenty of in-game content to stay engaged with. I also want to clear up something that I said in my last video. This game looks a lot like Code Vein, and that wasn't meant to be an insult. I really like Code Vein, especially the first one, and with Code Vein 2 being a bit of a disappointment, I'm eager to jump back into that style of combat and gameplay. And no, this game does not look like a Souls-like. Just because you can dodge roll doesn't mean Melania's about to drop in and one-shot you. The developers have even said you're unlikely to die randomly as long as you're keeping up with levels. So if this game being called a Souls-like was putting you off from trying it, don't worry. Even Mario Kart is considered a Souls-like these days. That doesn't mean the game is easy though. There are 4 difficulty options: story, normal, hard, and very hard. So if you want a challenge, it is definitely there. Speaking of challenges, let's talk about one of the most requested features in any Sword Art Online game: permanent death. Echoes of Aincrad is going to be the first SAO game with a real, no-joke permadeath feature. Dude, I'm so excited. After completing the story, or when buying the deluxe edition, yeah, I know, you will unlock a death game version of Echoes of Aincrad, where dying means your save is completely deleted. Game over. Yeah, this is a true Iron Man playthrough option. One serious mistake and your file is gone. Now this is something fans have been asking for since the inception of Sword Art Online, and I can't believe how long it has taken for us to get here. I mean, one of the main appeals of Sword Art Online is the fact that people die in these games. So it's only natural for us to have that sort of option. And knowing how these developers operate, there's probably an alternate ending if you beat the game on Death Game mode, or other hidden goodies only found in this mode. Or at least, that's what I'm hoping for. Personally, I cannot wait to do a Death Game run, and if you'd like to see my Death Game playthrough, subscribe and I'll make it my first playthrough experience. I might regret saying that. This is the #1 reason I'm excited for this game: a brand new, completely original story with no Kirito. Well, mostly. Echoes of Aincrad is going to be a completely original story with original characters revolving around a group of beta testers, your player included. It has been almost a decade since Fatal Bullet, where we were last able to create and experience a story that didn't revolve around Kirito or making our player characters Kirito, but with a wig. Now before you get too excited, Kirito is still a part of Echoes of Aincrad, but I believe the way he's being used in this version of the game is the best possible way to use him. Kirito in Echoes of Aincrad is like this god tier player just out making moves in the world. Do you remember that bridge scene in season 1 where those guys could barely even touch Kirito? Yeah, now imagine seeing that as an actual player in Aincrad, and not knowing if that person was a friend or an enemy. That is really cool, and it gives you a new way to appreciate the Sword Art story as someone who existed in that world at that time. Frankly, I'm just super excited to re-experience the early days of Sword Art Online. The original concept of a death game inside a video game felt so novel when Sword Art came out, and I'm really looking forward to re-experiencing that fear and tension the players must have felt when that big reveal happens. That chaos and pandemonium. If this genuinely is the start to a new chain of games in the gameverse and what is actually a horrifying world of Aincrad, then to me that is something worth really looking forward to and investing in. So yeah, those are the 5 things I'm most excited about in Echoes of Aincrad. But what are you looking forward to the most? Let me know in the comments. I read all of them and reply to most of them. And if you want me to dive deeper into any of these topics, subscribe. I'll be more than happy to do so.